Welcome to Reading the Green, our golf and fantasy sports show. My name is Mike with Kyle and Jordan on Tuesday, May 14th, episode 110, PGA Championship preview. Maybe more importantly, the Patio Pod.
Patio Pod.
Patio Pod, bringing it back.
Patio Pod. I was thinking back. We did one Patio Pod last year. This is our first one of 2024. We did it for the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
And you know what else? What happened that week for the U.S. Open? I went to a lunchtime tailor-made fitting at the club, and we started the Patio Pod talking about, fitting golf equipment. And Kyle, you said it was just like straight fire for 5 minutes, and I think it was because Jordan made penis jokes about shafts for the whole time.
I've never done that. I don't know what you're talking about.
And that was the episode that we then ran on local/national sports radio station KFan 100.3 a couple weeks later.
Jordan and his shaft jokes. Bringing the heat.
I love a good stiff shaft with the flimsy tip.
So what'd you learn about shafts today, Mike?
I'll tell you what I learned about shafts. I texted you exactly what I learned about shafts. And it's the same thing I learned last year, is that first of all, these drivers in TaylorMade's hucking this QI10 driver, which is sort of the iteration of the Stealth or whatever. They're like cheating. They go so far, you can't miss-hit them. But the thing that's crazy is that they're cutting them down like a half an inch to a whole inch shorter, so that you can really hit the sweet spot every time.
So what'd you buy today?
I didn't buy anything, but I'll tell you what.
You didn't cut your shaft down half an inch?
I didn't, but I would next time. Next time. The Tour Pros are basically, jokes aside, the Tour Pros are putting 3-wood shafts in their drivers because they swing it so hard, they don't need the extra distance that a longer shaft would give, and they're just going to hit the middle of the face that much more often.
So everyone likes a longer shaft.
It's about the overall performance. That's really what it's about. The numbers don't lie. So what I am gonna buy is these new these MG wedges from TaylorMade. I probably will buy these. I've been a Vokey guy, Jordan. I feel like you're a Vokey guy.
I don't even know what I have. I got free ones last year.
They were Vokeys. I remember talking about it because I want a new lob wedge.
Yeah, I've played Vokey wedges forever.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they're just kind of the go-to, but I thought was really interesting was, obviously like the club pros that were there are TaylorMade guys, and then the TaylorMade fitters, so they're all geeking out about TaylorMade equipment. But the faces on these wedges rust, and apparently the rust leaves kind of just replenishes texture on the face to keep the ball spinning for the life of the club. So most wedges, as you sort of mash down those grooves and smooth out the face, they just basically become useless, like the wedges I'm hitting now. So these faces rust, and they just keep rusting over time, and so it imparts extra spin to the ball. I don't know.
The original, where that comes from.
Yeah, it comes from Joey Rusty Irons in San Diego.
Yeah, our buddy.
What? Oh,
Yeah. That's where I thought you were going with
No,
it.
but Cleveland, their original wedges were
all
called the Rusty.
Okay.
Oh, your Rusty wedges. That was the thing in the, maybe a little too young for you guys, but late 90s, my high school golf team, it was all about
really?
You got the new Rusty wedges, come brand new, and by half
I just assumed that was a look. I didn't realize there was science behind it.
Pretty sure that's my sand wedge now. There's a 2000 model.
Your stainless steel has somehow rusted because it's so old.
Yeah. Did you find a free 5-wood for me?
I asked if they had any free clubs. They said they were fresh out. They gave them out already. So I know you were looking for
earlier fitting next.
You're looking for a deal. I was confused. I thought you were talking about you were looking for a free swag wood cover. And I think we had just previously concluded that the swag covers, whatever, were most definitely not free.
No.
And most definitely not worth purchasing at $888 for the redesigned Ryder Cup President's set. So
they look stupid.
Anyways, so the lunchtime fitting was successful. I'll at least pick up some new wedges in a new brand. But yeah, the drivers are just every TaylorMade driver I've had over the last 8 years, I feel like every iteration I'm cheating. they go so far.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm sure the other brands maybe say the same thing, but it's I have 108. My driver's swing speed is like 108, 109 miles an hour. Not very fast. Like that's below tour average. Still getting like 107 mile an hour ball speed.
I hope it's below tour
Below
average.
tour average.
I don't think tour average is really that fast.
Okay. Well,
I think the guys that swing fast,
Yeah.
that are swinging 120, 125, those guys swing fast.
That's true. Mine
113
is at like was 115.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jordan's above tour average. I think tour average is like one.
Jordan swings hard.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So
I have. You know what's tomorrow?
you're
My lesson's tomorrow, so I'll let you know what mine is tomorrow.
This will be a great topic next week on the show.
Yeah.
I look forward to this, Kyle. Do you feel mentally prepared to do this?
I've written down my notes on what
Okay.
I want to say going in, so I give some clear direction. We talked about it a little bit. That was helpful. We
Yeah.
workshopped it on the pod.
Yeah, we did. I'm excited for you.
Speaking of clubhead speed, at the Wells Fargo Championship last week, who had the highest average clubhead speed in recorded shots? 101 shots were recorded for this person.
Ben on.
Rory.
Cameron Champ, 127 miles an hour.
Driver. That's pretty crazy. But but that
Ben on. Is he a hard swinger?
I don't know. I thought it was gonna be a guy. Rory would have been you wouldn't have asked me if it was Rory. Anyways, let's just cover the beers really quick and then we'll talk about golf.
We started with "It's Okay to Not Be Okay" from Luce Lines. I thought that was funny because my DFS play lately has not been okay, but it's okay to not be okay.
Do you ever think that the inverse of that will become a meme of that it's not okay to be okay?
Yeah.
I think we need to start it.
And then Jordan, you gifted
Yes,
two beers from
This
Burial.
one is hot, by the way.
I have
Yeah,
not had it yet.
it's a burner.
Yeah.
A little bit of hot burn.
It'd be like if someone made you a drink and they poured way too much vodka or tequila in it. Like you got burned. That's this beer.
10%.
Like I've had 10% beers that still taste good. The flavor is good, but it's alcohol.
It's borderline.
yeah.
Burial likes to write a novel for their can titles, so in between bouts of rapture. Does
Yes.
that kind of sum it up?
It's rapture.
Am I taking the rest of it?
Sure.
boy.
Mike's gonna get drunk
Well,
tonight.
I'm at home, so
Yeah.
But no, I had a coworker go to Asheville on a trip, and
this play. I mean,
he sent a note over like, "Oh, do anyone want me to bring me home some beer?" And I quickly raised my hand,
Yeah.
and this
Ooh.
is I got two of these.
yeah,
Right? It's
that is
like a little
intense.
too boozy.
It's a little too boozy.
Yeah. It's got some heat. You know what I thought about this is I rode my bike over here tonight.
Perfect.
My bicycle, just to clarify.
Oh, biker.
If it wasn't a Tuesday night and we could have partaken in some bourbon since we're going to Louisville, Kentucky this week.
Louisville.
Louisville.
Put some mashed potatoes in your mouth. We'll also follow this up with conjured from fortuitous abnormalities. That would be a little less hot, but thank you for bringing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
I wasn't gonna drink it by myself. I've committed to not drinking anything over 7 by myself.
I know.
So-
Well, it's like that. You drink a third of it. It's like you're only drinking like a 3% beer.
Yeah.
When we go down
4 ounces of this is 1 Coors Light.
pre-pod, there's a lot of geeking out about the U.S. Open trip that's coming up. We will pick up. Jordan said no Burial. I said only Burial. So we'll probably land somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I hope you drink only Burial so I can kick your ass on the golf course the next day.
It'll be
Kyle might even beat you without his handicap.
I'm playing on Friday. That will be my first round of the year. My second round of the year will be in North Carolina. So
Nice.
Open season.
I got to get a couple in. I've had plenty of opportunities to play the one round so far, but it just... Yeah,
All right.
I got to make time.
Yep, I got my first one in last Friday.
Golf season. Well, let's talk really quick about the Wells Fargo. I have, I don't know how much you guys watched. I think you guys both kind of tuned in on Sunday. I tuned in late Sunday. I kind of was a back nine guy for this one, which I'm glad I did because it was, when I wrote the notes, I said special golfers doing special things. feel like the definition of special now maybe applies differently to Rory after just the media storm this week of what is going on with that guy. But 60, I mean, he ends up shooting 65 on Sunday.
With the double on 18?
With a double on 18. He was absolutely out of control between holes 8 and 16 at Quail Hollow, a course that we know that he's been dominant at over the year. I think this is his 4th win there. So it's kind of crazy when someone like him at his echelon, one of the top 5 players in the world, just decides he's just going to do things no one else is doing. I thought it was really interesting. Check me on this, and I don't have the leaderboard up. Rory finishes the week at minus 17. What was last place for the week? It was probably plus 12, plus 13.
Oh, it was plus Pavan.
Yeah,
I think he was plus 16.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, Will shot an 80 on Sunday, and so he shot an 82 on Saturday.
So how do you have people like that far?
Eric Cole was last place.
What did he shoot?
Plus 18.
Plus 18. So we have a 37 stroke difference between these guys from first to last. It's a no-cut event. And so I was thinking, like, gosh, like, how are guys like Eric Cole and Rory McIlroy playing the same golf course for 4 rounds? And then I realized that in normal circumstances, the guys that play bad don't get to play 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so a guy like Eric Cole or Pavan or even Wyndham Clark don't have it for the first 36 holes. They don't play Saturday and Sunday. They don't worsen their position. So it just made me think about how in a cut event, you end up with 60-some players that are actually playing semi-decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just yet another reason why this is trash setups.
Yeah. Would plus 3 have made the cut?
Probably.
Because Eric Cole was plus 3 after 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then shot 80-77.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of overs on various Eric Cole markets this week at Valhalla, but we can get to that. Anyways, to your point, Kyle, not a fan. Like, the no-cut events continue to produce maybe good finishes and good winners, but, like, the meat of the golf tournament is, like, it's a waste of time on the weekend.
Yeah, and it's not as interesting from a DFS perspective. And, don't get me wrong, it does produce some great finishes. It's fun to watch on Sundays sometimes, but not for some of the reasons we like to watch.
Exactly. Yeah, we were all over Pavone, and he was even Wyndham Clark. Wyndham, I don't think.
Yeah, we talked about Wyndham a lot last week. Got a sprinkle of Will. Finau didn't have a great week, but that being said, there was a decent lineup in the model. We just none of us have.
Yeah, Xander and Rory. Xander and Rory, I said, were our 2 top power index plays. I had a handful of lineups with Xander and Rory in them, so that seriously led to some money. The problem was, Finau was another guy that played really poorly for 4 days, and he was also ranking above 90 in our power index. And so I think it's hard to figure out like what guys are going to do in an event that doesn't have a cut that's going to guarantee them some decent change right ahead of a major. I mean, RBC has the same problem that's on the backside of the Masters, and so these no cut signature events, it feels a bit livish.
I'm not going to say it, but yes.
Yeah. All right.
If only there were teams where like they could help.
Yeah.
Maybe Eric Cole would have been so bad if other people were relying on him.
Or would he have been dragging down the cliques? Let's not get into it. Kyle's gonna melt down.
But they had a very nice Mother's Day post. I mean, at least there was that.
The RTG Listener League, guys. What is going on? Ness back to back to back.
He must get his information from a really good podcast or something, and get some good data from some guys, right?
What are you doing at pickleball? Are you giving some tips that you're not sharing on the show?
Yeah, have you seen my finishes the last 3 weeks?
And was it this week or last week when I screenshotted that we were the last 3?
That was a couple weeks ago. But I was duking it out with Ness. I had the lead for most of the event in the Listener League, and I had Rory and Xander. Ness only had Rory, and so I really needed Xander to come out on top. For me, it didn't matter. I was getting first and second place points regardless, but with Xander not coming out on top, let me just ask this: Did Rory took this from Xander, right? Like, was there any expectation that Xander should have kept pace?
I would agree, but Xander's had this too often, right? That what was it on hole 6? He had a 1-hole lead, and 5 holes later he was 4 down, 5 down, whatever it may be. Yes, Rory went and grabbed it, but Xander has yet to give anyone any confidence he's going to ever be the guy to go grab it. Even when he's won in the past, it seems to be kind of a survival of the fittest situation, as opposed to go get it.
Yeah, he is, and I think that's why he. I mean, if you look at, he's got like his last 5 finishes are top 10. I should pull it up. Some of those being backdoor top 10s. Like, you know that he has the game. He set such a high floor, but he's not a guy that's going to go get it. And Rory's the kind of guy that will go out there and hold bunker shots for eagle because he does.
Yeah.
Xander misses 4-footers.
Does Xander have a better chance of winning the FedEx Cup than winning a major?
100%.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because he can just be consistent all year and then enter the tournament with a lead. Because he's in second place right now in FedEx Cup points.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a good question. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Listener League, 3rd place last week at the Wells Fargo. DGCB28, relatively new player in the Listener League, so want to give a shout out there. We talked about the good and the bad. Rory and Xander are 2 top plays of the week, so I felt pretty good smashing those plays. So Rory wins at -17. Top contributor of the week, Joe Nicely, his Horse for the Course article over at Rotoballer. Rory Xander, home of Fleetwood. Pretty good plays at Quail Hollow. Gutsiest play, Jason Day. You know, I want to be back in Jason Day on a week he has a good. But we were on him at the Masters in the Calcutta. Felt like all of my heart went into getting him to do something, and he couldn't. And then it's like every other week is a Jason Day week.
He kind of flirted for a little bit there at the Masters, but yeah.
So he ends up outfits and all, having a good week.
Outfits and all. Who's going to wear the most ridiculous outfit on the golf trip?
Clearly, Mike.
My outfits aren't ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, your hats alone are ridiculous.
To each their own.
I don't. All right.
But how many points? So Xander's second in FedEx Cup points. How many points behind Scotty is he?
I bet he's just as close
1,000?
to 30th as he is to first.
He has less than half as many points as Scotty Scheffler. And third place is 30 points behind
But
him.
all of that dominance is going to result in Scotty having a 2-shot lead in the Tour Championship, and it's golf. Like, that can evaporate, but Scotty could also win.
But then we know Xander's not going to win it.
I know. Last thing, Jordan, I'll toss it to you for the one and done update. This feels important.
What happened this week, guys? I don't.
I'll tell you what happened.
Are we going to let him talk about this? I don't know.
Can you guys update me? I don't. What happened?
This is not. I'm bearing the lead, but was it Champles or Stogie? One of the entrants that had been leading goes with Sepp Straka. Stogie goes with Sepp Straka, and Jordan sends the laughing text, or Kyle did. Bold move by Stogie.
I don't know if it was the laughing text. I just said bold move. What's he know that we don't? And what do you get? Like
Sepp finished.
He got 8th place. Got $600,000.
Sepp out of nowhere.
It just doesn't help that 9 people had Rory or Xander, which credit to 4-putt Don. The only Xander play got $2 million out of it. So 8 people got $3.6 million.
Took a hit. My Wyndham Clark play was no bueno.
And can you guys stop texting each other your shitty picks? We both had Wyndham Clark.
We didn't talk about it at all.
But you just both randomly select shitty golfers at the same time.
I've had way too much chalk recently, and it hasn't been the good ones.
Anyway, so year to date, there's a new leader. His name is me. I have a $750,000 lead over last year's winner, Champles, who has been on a hot streak.
Wow.
Again this year. And then we've got Stogie, A. Dingus, and Buick, all of us above the $10 million mark. Mike, 7.3. Kyle, 6.4. Still in it, but you're gonna have to.
I'm still in there.
You're still in there. Hit a bunch though.
Long ways to go. Ways to go. But Jordan, it's the middle of May. I hope it feels good.
Hey, I'll take leading at any point. I'll Xander this shit. Second place gets paid too.
You sound like Kevin Kisner. All right. Well, the only other update we normally have in the recap section is the Survivor Reloaded pool, but we were off that week because there's no cut. So we'll get to the workshop in the next segment here. But let's move on to the 2024 PGA Championship at Valhalla. I thought you were going to do something else, but I'll save it. I'll save it for name game. Louisville, Kentucky. Derby City. We just had. I mean, did you guys watch the Kentucky Derby?
It's very different.
I did.
Yes.
I mean,
we actually watched it with your wife.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we don't need. It's,
The reaction was great.
yeah, circumstances we don't have to get into. There were
a
other
horse
people.
named Dan something won.
Yeah, Mystic Dan. Mystic Dan. It was close. It was a photo finish. It was the first photo finish in a long
Three-way
time.
photo finish. Yeah.
It was the three-way.
It was. Well, we've been.
Watched it with Mike's wife.
Yeah. It wasn't just Kyle and I watching with Mike's wife.
There were other people.
There were other women there
other
also.
people, yeah.
Our wives.
We spent at least an afternoon at Canterbury Park doing some horse racing, some pari-mutuels. I used to be way more into. I've been to the Kentucky Derby actually. I have an Animal Kingdom winning ticket that I placed that week.
I don't know if I knew you went to the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, this was one of my wife's grad school friends is from Louisville, and he was like, "You guys got to come down." So we did a little. Didn't go to the Oaks. I think it's the Oaks is on Friday. But we hung out in Louisville, went to the Kentucky infield though. You know, the tickets are like $40.
Sure.
And you go to the infield, didn't see a single horse the entire you can. I mean, you see the overhead shots, like it's so built up on the rail inside, so you know, you drink mint juleps and you hang out. And I don't know that I did that Animal Kingdom ticket, but was that 2012, 2013, something like that. But we're talking about golf. And we have past winner Brooks Koepka wins last year the PGA Championship at Oak Hill, his third PGA Championship. 2014 was the last time that Valhalla hosted the PGA Championship, and that was won by Rory McIlroy. And prior to that, Valhalla hosted the PGA Championship in 2000. If you guys remember Tiger Woods beating Bob May in a playoff, that was also The Point. If you're not familiar, please watch the replay of The Point to get some of those Tiger Woods chills. And then 1996, it was interesting, 4 years prior to 2000, Valhalla hosted PGA Championship again. Mark, come on seriously now, Brooks wins that year. So this is the fourth PGA Championship at Valhalla.
And the Tiger win, that was the ball, right?
That was the mysterious...
Someone throwing his ball down.
Yeah. The conspiracy ball.
You can
That's what it's
Zapruder
called,
this
the
all you
conspiracy
want. The
There's
ball
no way
bounced
it's
down a
bouncing
hill.
like
No,
that.
it bounced.
Unless it bounced and then like hit a curb and came back the other way.
It hit a tree.
Well, I have a couple
Yeah,
of other
and sped out
storylines, but
uphill.
Kyle, you're pulling the Valhalla notes out, so get us started on the golf course.
I'm interested to get your guys' take on the course too, because there's a lot of opinions this week, some divergent opinions on what it takes as well. But it's a long course. We're playing 7,609 yards. That's the third longest course on tour this year, and it also has the third smallest greens. Zoysia grass.
Good job.
Yeah,
I
come
was
on, I love it.
honestly,
Yeah.
I had that in the notes. I wanted to hear you say it.
Yeah, come on.
How many times did you listen to that online before you said it?
Probably a lot the last 3 days.
Well, they just regressed in 2021.
Correct, because it's a more drought tolerant. It takes less water, and you can shave it closer. So a lot of people were excited for some closely shaven runoffs on greens this year. Thought maybe add a little bit more spice to Valhalla, but unfortunately, by the reports on the course, it doesn't seem like that's the case. So I don't think around the green is going to be as much of in play this week, even with the small greens. Long is, but I don't think you have to be long off the tee. You can't be short, but you don't have to necessarily be long. But what I think you do need is long irons. The par 3s average 216. They're 175 yards to 254 is going to be the longest setup on one of the days. And then there's just a lot of shots, 180, 200, 210. A lot of approaches, a couple forced layups. So everyone's kind of hitting it from the same spot, and that's a long ways away to a small green.
This is a golf course. I know you guys love these takes. Played it a lot on Golf Plus on the Quest.
little Oculus golf.
And so
Real
I feel
barren.
like it is. It feels barren. It feels barren. The graphics don't quite capture. I think but I think I do feel the idea of hitting from the same spot in the fact that like even some holes you're bombing it, and then some holes it's a lot of non-driver. You have some kind of spots that the forced layups. You have the creek that crosses the fairway, and I totally feel this idea of like some of these like you're just gonna have guys. You can see a lot of the same shots, and whether you're hitting 2-iron to get there, you're hitting 3-wood, or you're hitting driver.
Yeah, and
you're going to take some of that length away.
A good follow this week, one of the guys we shout out often is Matt Gannon. He's on site, and like one of their points and some stuff they put out yesterday is not only do you have the four long par threes, there's not a short par three, but then you have the 2 holes with the forced layups. So you're basically, another 200-yard shot, very similar. And then you have like the one with the split fairways. It's the same situation. So you're already up to 7 of the 18 holes right there where you have that. And that doesn't include like a standard, types of par 4s and stuff. They do have, at least the PGA does one thing I like that they do is a graduated rough. So if you just miss by a little bit, it's not as much. But it even sounds like the rough is down from what it's been the last 3 or 4 PGAs as well.
It's really wet. It's been raining a bunch. In fact, they even had a weather delay for the player interviews today. This is Tuesday. And so they actually had to dismiss the media from the interview areas, and then they brought them back after a delay. So like I think it's been really wet. I think the course is going to be really receiving, and so I'm going to guess that they're being very conservative with the rough and making sure that they don't, you don't start with 4 or 5 inches and then have it be really soggy and have that grow fast and all of a sudden it's 6-7.
Sure.
But I agree, like some of the visuals that we've seen, like it looks pretty benign. So I think all of that leads to probably pretty low scoring.
Yeah. I think if I found a winner 15.5 or even 16.5, like better than that, I think I would take that.
Yeah.
Which it's been single digits for the last 5 PGAs.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's gonna be really good scoring, and that's okay. Like I don't mind that, but it is what it is. Don't expect some PGAs come off like a US Open. I think we got a little bit of that at Oak Hill.
Correct.
And people kind of said, I don't need that. We have the US Open. Same with Augusta. Like I don't need Augusta to play to 2 or 3 under par. So I think you're going to see this be mid double digits, 15, 16. I think I'm there with you. Just a reminder, it is top 70 in ties. So we have a huge field, 156 players. Remember, you got 20 club pros in here, including Jordan, yours truly, Blocky. He's back. He's hitting the first tee shot of the entire event.
I hope he shoots 100.
Did he get a special invite back, or did he qualify?
No, he qualified. He finished top 15 last year. Top 15.
Yeah,
that was the thing. He made an absurd up and down on 18 from like 20 yards behind the green. Huge flop shot, rolls in like a 10-footer to make par to finish T15 and gets invited back.
I unfortunately did not see a ton of the PGA last year. I was out of the country, so I have to relive those highlights. Yeah.
Well, we'll get into the RTG model, but I want to just before we do that, I texted this. It seems like I know we have to play the golf tournament, but if we could just hand out 4 Wanamaker trophies right now, we would just hand them to Scotty, Rory, Brooks, and Bryson. Apparently,
we could leave Bryson out.
I'm just saying. I didn't think. Apparently, Kyle.
Well, I'm just saying by everyone's betting cards. Everyone's handing to the first 3
for sure.
Because all are coming off a win because all those things are created equal, on which they freaking won beforehand. But I do enjoy Rory coming in hot compared to Scotty and what he's the round
fresh off
a
divorce.
Yeah, fresh off the divorce. We got a divorce. We got a baby, and I don't know what's going on in Brick's life. I'm going to stop there.
Good, yeah.
I'm just going to stop there.
Florida Panthers, whatever he's doing for that.
Cheering for the Florida Panthers. But then the people love Bryson this week. There's a lot of Bryson bets out there as well. So everyone thinks one of those four is going to take it home.
Well, we'll get to that. Spoiler: I like Bryson at Pinehurst, but let's do this.
Are we gonna boo him if we see him there?
Probably.
Yes.
Probably.
And if we make a shirt that is anti-live, will you wear it the day that we're there?
100%.
You have to agree to it without seeing what we put on the shirt.
Ooh.
There will be no swear words.
Well, it can't get me removed from the event. How about
Or
that?
fired
Yeah,
from
we'll
his
have it
job.
be a
Or fired from my job.
We'll have it be a polo with a collar.
We need to workshop this.
All right. Well, speaking of workshops, Kyle, do you want to workshop the Survivor League picks, or do you want to run through the RTG model?
It's up to you. I'm ready. Let's go model,
Okay.
and then let's make sure we don't forget about the Survivor
Okay.
League picks, though, because
All right.
we kind of forget sometimes.
All right.
All
Take
right.
us home.
So far, 50% mention share at this point. Brooks Koepka and Benny On, as we talked about, coming off a good finish last week. Mention power is actually identical for both of them as well. Not terribly high at this point, sub 50, so it's something to keep an eye on for both of them as we go into tomorrow. Next, we have another guy that's been playing well at only 6,000 this week, Taylor Pendrith, 43% mention share. Also kind of middling on the MPI. And then right behind him, we have Bryson, Rory, and Scotty, three that we just talked about, all at 38% mention share. So far, Scotty's leading the way on the mention power. Rory is right at the middle of the road. And Bryson, only a 21 at MPI so far. Actually, I don't know if I've decided what I'm going to do at the top of the board yet. So if you have a hot take there, Mike, I'm all for it.
I do have a hot take, but I feel like it's a bit like my grand finale as I prep my notes. So I don't want to go there quite yet. I do want to comment that there are a couple of other cheapies that really sit right there in the, if you want to round out like the top 25% share percentage. So again, like for folks that maybe are new or know what we're talking about, we really track two main metrics: share percentage, which would be our measurement of how many kind of DFS experts are talking about a player. 25% would mean 1 in 4 experts that we follow are talking about that particular player. And then power index is sort of our proprietary power ranking of those players against each other. Sepp Straka, 7,500. D-Mac, Denny McCarthy, UVA guy, 6,300. And then Killa Keith. 6,600. And Killa Keith right now ranking at 100, meaning the top spot on our power index ranking. Really interesting set of guys there. I mean, we talked about Sepp a little bit last week, kind of being a surprise one-and-done pick, but his form has been really good, and maybe shouldn't have been so surprised that he played so well at the Wells Fargo, so I think that is garnering a little bit of steam this week. Denny is the one that surprises me, and I'm not... some of the stuff that I've read has said his ball striking has somewhat course-proofed his game, that even Denny not being a long player, the quality of his ball striking keeps him in it. Plus, we know he's a really strong Bermuda putter, and if I have to put zoysia grass on a spectrum, it's more Bermuda than it is bent. So if I want like a premier Bermuda putter, Denny is the guy. And then for me, though,
this is good also, because earlier we were talking about how length doesn't matter. It's not just shafts.
It's not just shafts. It's not just length. I'm not backing Denny this week, though, because I know we got Killa Keith in the season-long Calcutta, so I will gladly welcome a W this week. But if I want to just hedge a little bit and say, hey, maybe he'll come up with a top 10, Kashmir, I think, bounces back. He bounces back from the miscut at the Houston to go 14th, 28th, 20th in his last 3 starts. He bombs it. A ton of distance compared to the field. Doesn't lose on approach. He's lost like minimally on approach going all the way back to the beginning of the year. And in the model that I ran, courtesy of rickrungood.com, 35th in birdie or better percentage, which we know we need at a birdie fest, 5th in weighted strokes gains off the tee, last 36. Keith is set up for a good week. Doesn't have excellent PGA experience, but I love his form this year. And at 6,600, I think he's my cheapy play to lead the way.
When we've talked about how this is an easier PGA maybe than previous years, so
Opens the door.
maybe chest hair Keith can get it done.
I'm with you on Keith too. I mean, just you hit a lot of the stats, but in ball striking in general, so off the tee and approach combined, you have to go back to the Sanderson Farms last October where he's lost ball striking, and you look at his finishes that haven't been great. It's because he's either been bad around the green or bad putting, which I feel both can be mitigated this week. We don't have the shade runoff areas as we've talked about, and they're smaller greens. So if you do get it on the green, your chances of 3-putts and stuff should be less, and they're not overly tough green complexes. So I'm with you on Keith. I will talk about at the top of the board, since we did mention Benny so far at 50% mention share. I am intrigued there this week. He's coming off third last week, fourth at the Byron Nelson, 16th at the Masters. So some big boy fields or tough courses. Again, just really strong from a ball striking perspective. His weakness has been around the green, but he's improved vastly with the putter the last 2 weeks over his trend. So maybe he's figured out something there. So I don't love him if he gets a ton of ownership, but you're going to have to go down because you're going to have to pick guys at the top of the board this week. So you kind of make your stands up top. So Benny at 7,800, I think can fit in some of those lineups with two studs.
Yeah, Benny he's played a handful of PGA Championships. He's got 8 of them going back to 2015. 49th last year, 22nd, couple of missed cuts, but he's got decent form in the big stage, and so you're right. I think it probably comes down to an ownership play for Benny at 7,800. Kyle, the next name I want to throw out. Jordan, I don't know if you're here. I'm trying to look at. Maybe you are. Jordan? Let me ask you this question. What do you think about Ludwig this week?
I was not there.
Not there.
10,500 for Ludwig. I mean, he's high on the mention power. I'm always a big mention power guy.
This is exactly the point that I have. I'm going to work backwards on my notes. Ludwig is a guy that I want to play at 9,500 this week. I don't know how I play him at 10,500.
Yeah.
The problem is he might be the second best ball striker in this field. I mean, I'm not going to step on Scotty Scheffler's crown, but Ludwig might be the second best ball striker in this field. He might be hurt. He might be injured. I know No Laying Up debated whether it's one of the two. He's been grabbing his knee. But I kind of get this Victor Hovland vibe right now of a guy that's just hitting it so good that despite him never playing at Augusta and finishing top 5 there, not playing in a PGA Championship, I have zero issue with him showing up and finishing somehow in the top 5. He's 5 top 10s in his last 8 starts. My only problem I can't figure out is how do I play him at $10,500 when I have all these other guys that are absolute locks for this golf tournament.
When would you rather? Would you pay $400 more for Xander?
That's my point. Is like
I think I would.
It almost.
I don't think I'm gonna play either of them this week, but I would.
See, I'm not as concerned about the money. It is more the knee potential issue, or if that's an issue. That would be a bigger. That's been the bigger question for me because I was going to go into this thinking because I have not played a lot of Ludwig. Like this was the place I was going to plant my flag and do it.
And it could just be. It could all just be sort of. It's like the Hideki stuff. Like we can only read so much.
Hideki.
Speaking of Hideki, hey, mention power loves him this week. Are you taking him, Kyle? That was
he's good for a 6th place this week.
That was gonna be my question.
I'm playing him somewhere because when I don't, he's good. When I do, he WDs or
just the WD out of nowhere sets Twitter on fire. But I think with Ludwig's game is so perfect for this golf course and what we think that this tournament's going to demand. As far as long iron play goes, as far as driver play goes, I want to be all over Ludwig, but I just the pricing, like, it's like I got to make a choice between Xander and Rory and Brooks. And it just, like, either, you know, I can't see those other guys not being a factor. And so, to me, this feels like I'm going to hope that I get one lineup right with Ludwig in it.
And I think construction is going to be super interesting this week. Because, again, it's to the point you're making, right? People don't want to leave one of those studs off the board.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have people start at, you know, a Rory Scotty, or even go down to a Brooks and maybe drop into the 9s. Or they're picking 2 up top. And then you have to completely skip the 9s and even the top of the 8s, unless you're going to play like 3 guys in the 5s or something crazy. But that's helpful to keep in mind as you're working through this. Like, if you either can pivot at the top, or you don't have to pivot. You just start in the 9s. No one else is doing that.
No, and I just don't think it's going to be the outcome. Like, Jordan, you said, like, the last 5 years of this golf tournament has been stud heavy. So you're just going to have to get it right. You got, and we're not going to talk about John Rahm here, really. Like, he's too far down in our model.
He's my one and done pick for the week.
He sure, and I don't mind that. Like, you know, you're not gonna. Where else are you gonna use him at the U.S. Open? Maybe, but I think that's it. And he's at 11.4. So, like, there's so many players above 10,000 here, and I think the 5Ks are fairly worthless outside of
Michael Block,
and honestly, I don't want to get away from the stud conversation, but. If I'm going to go really cheap, and now I've lost what I'm paying for him this week, but Eric Van Rooyen, I think I kind of like as a fun. I think he's 5,700. I kind of like as a fun play this week. We know he's coming off a T4 at Myrtle Beach, and I got him a top 10 in my model on long approaches, and generally has plenty of distance. So. If you're going to be going stud in, you know, a couple of plays at 10, 11,000, you're going to need some cheapies. So,
yep. Yeah. Another guy I just wanted to highlight as Tyrrell Hatton. He's 82, but I just was playing around. You can fit in if you go twice above, as long as you go down a little. You know, you can have him as being your third guy in. Just looking at the Masters and PGA, his experience there, he's notoriously hasn't been great at the Masters, but 9th, 15th, 34th, 13th, 52nd. So even with a couple poor finishes at the Masters, you know, his PGA track record is pretty good. Then you sprinkle some U.S. Open in there too. You know, you just get a guy that can play some tougher courses and stick in a field like this. And as long as he doesn't melt down, for $8,200, I don't mind it.
As long as he doesn't melt down, it's literally what he does is melt down.
But he's shown the ability to keep it on the tracks at these bigger events, big boy events. You know, I think some of that's even for show sometimes.
I do agree with you. Jordan, what else you got? Any other players you wanna throw out there?
I mean, just Min Woo way down.
Min Woo?
He's 97 on the mention power.
Kyle, what do we?
$7,700. You Min Wooing it this week?
18th last year at Oak Hill.
Sticking just to Decky.
My concern would be just some of those approach play. Mm-hmm. But if it turns into a bomb and gouge fest, yeah, Min Woo can definitely hang in a tournament like that.
Well, here's my grand finale as far as picks go. So. My pick for the event, and I will say this is where my head is. It's not necessarily where my betting card or DFS plays are, but I do think that it is watch out for Brooks when he decides the time to play big boy golf. He was very vocal about it. He said, and when he acknowledges that he is doing his live thing, which is just literally not giving a shit, then decides to go and win. He just decides he's going to win. And so he goes out to live Singapore and he wins. And again, we can debate what that actually means. but we know that he's won major championships in a birdie fest environment, like at Erin Hills when he was minus 16 and won the U.S. Open by 4 strokes. We know that he can keep pace. And so my guess is that when we see something similar here and Brooks really wants to apply himself and defend his title and win his 4th PGA, we know he cares about legacy, doesn't give a shit about live because he doesn't even wear the clothes that he's supposed to wear. I think it's Brooks this week. And I do like I said, I think Ludwig is just tailor-made for this golf course. Give me a top 5 on Ludwig. Give me a top 10 on Xander. Give me a missed cut on JT in his hometown because he sucks. And give me a missed cut by Spieth because association to JT.
Oh, Spieth, that's not going out on a limb there. But I like the hot takes. I like Mike putting his foot in the ground. Brooks, one of the comp courses here, what I would say that's also hosted in the past, and I don't even know if I'm saying the course right, but Bellevue.
Bellerive,
yeah. Brooks won there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. And spoiler, I have one bet this week. It's on Brooks, 16-1.
Yeah.
For 5 units.
Yeah. I think you know what? Like he didn't show up. I know the way he wanted at the Masters, but I'm a fan of the bravado, and so even if I don't got any money on Brooks, I'm excited for the TV on Sunday. I hope he's in the mix. Anyone else? Hot takes. I want to get to name game, but
all right. I think so. If we're just to finish with that, because we got to make choices up top, right? I will be playing Scotty. I will not be playing Rory.
Okay.
You don't want single Rory?
Single Rory
tear
versus
his way through Louisville?
Well, I did. I forget which pod it was on today. Somebody did go back and look up when he broke up with Carolina Wozniak, right?
Wozniak, yeah.
He won 2 majors that year.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
That's the bit this week, right?
Yeah.
He just filed for Rory filed for divorce in Florida. Like this is he must have found some information on Erica that caused him to file for divorce as if she wasn't involved in this process.
Yeah.
Sucks for this dude. Like it's been like he's got the player board thing going on. He's playing like the best golf of honestly the last couple of years of his career.
He's playing good right now because obviously they knew this has been coming, right? And they were fully.
That's what I love
That's-
about golf. Just as a sidestep, is that like this isn't the league can't orchestrate Rory holing bunker shots on 13 at whatever hole it was, 14 at Quail Hollow. Like, this isn't like the NBA where the referees and the league just decide they're going to call the game to ensure we go to 6 or 7. Like, Rory is playing out of his mind. And so, but I'm with you, Kyle. Like, I'm as a golf fan, I'm fine. If Rory wins, it's great. I'll get burned by him on the betting card. I'm not betting him.
Yeah, I'm not betting him. I'm not playing him. And I'm perfectly okay with him winning. So, in and Scotty, out and Rory. Interested in Rahm, maybe from a GPP single entry perspective, not playing Xander. Bet Brooks. Interested in Ludwig, not playing Morikawa, not playing Kelly.
Okay. You guys ready for name game?
Let's do it.
We need to workshop your picks.
God, Kyle, thank you. Let me just go back to tell you.
Wait, we're going to workship your one and done picks so you guys don't suck this week?
Workshop my Survivor.
Survivor.
It's a good point now because I have to tell you who I already clicked in. I think the plan is to go stud until you get out of here. So
survive as long as possible.
Brooks and Rory is who I've locked in right now. Xander's not available. Cantley's not available. Scotty's not available.
Okay. I didn't really. I couldn't remember.
I think Brooks is one of them.
I couldn't remember if we used Brooks or not, so I was ready to say if I have to cringe and say Bryson, we could.
That's cringy.
Do you just go Bryson and Brooks? All
No.
live?
I honestly could be there if we get to the U.S. Open in this thing.
Brooks and Rory. Rory's not going to miss the cut here. After two straight dubs.
The thing is, like, can I sleep at night if Rory is the one that misses the cut after 2 wins at Valhalla where he has a PGA win?
Yeah.
Fine.
No, those are the plays. You got it. We don't need to workshop it.
All right, name game. So I come off the win. It's been a while, but I win at Kyle's concoction at Quail Hollow of the Cameron Beverly, Sharon Woods neighborhood mashup of players. I win with Cameron Young, Ben Hahn, and Seamus Power. It honestly wasn't even close. And so I get the pleasure of making the game this week. And so, Kyle, this is where I thought you were going at the beginning of the show. We were playing at Valhalla.
Yeah.
You're going for that. Okay. So we know that the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin references Valhalla, and it's talking about the Hall of the Slain Warriors in Norse mythology. And so I have 4 teams of players with their associated Nordic god.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So you guys are going to learn something about Nordic.
I'm going to learn a lot of things here. Yeah.
We're going to start with Team 1. Torbjorn Olesen, Thor, the god of thunder. That was the easy one.
Yeah.
That was the easy one.
That was the inspiration. And you're like, shit, I have to do this 15 more times?
What other Norse gods are there?
No, who are the other 11 players I can come up with? So we're gonna reach a little bit. Thorbjorn will be playing with Rory McIlroy, Forseti, the god of justice, peace, and truth. Again, maybe has a little different definition before when I put this together. And Jordan Spieth, Kvasir, the god of inspiration. Don't ask. Just let your imagination go.
This is like that movie one that you came up with that didn't make any sense.
Do we get the correlations at some point?
I don't know. I mean, listen to Jordan Spieth. Like he's always trying to be in. He's
philosophical.
He's philosophical.
Okay.
You know, he's got something. Listen to his thing about.
So is a guy named Jack Handy.
You know, he doesn't play in the PGA or Live Tour or professional golf. Period. Phil Mickelson, Tyr, the god of war. Xander Schauffele, Delling, the god of the dawn. Hideki Matsuyama, Delling, the god of the dawn. Come on, the sun rises in the east.
Donkey.
No, god of the
I was
dawn.
saying donkey also.
Xander Schauffele,
God
Hernier,
of the donkey.
the silent god. Come on, Xander Schauffele, he doesn't really talk at all.
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka, God. Magni, god of strength. Shut up, Jordan. K.H. Lee, Balder, the god of beauty. Team 3 rounded out by Patrick Cantlay, Hor, the god of winter. Team
you think
4.
K.H. Lee is beautiful?
He's the sexiest. He strives to be the sexiest man alive. What are you talking about?
Did you start drinking before we got here?
You guys don't know the legend of K.H. Lee?
Continue.
Come on. Team 4, Scotty Scheffler, Freyr, the god of fertility.
Okay, that's funny.
Steve Stricker, Ely, the god of old age. And Team 4, if you really want to go with Scotty Scheffler, you got to bear Steve Stricker and Taylor Gooch, Loki, the trickster.
There is one stinker on all those teams.
Well, of course there is.
Yeah.
There's also one stud. In some cases, 2 studs. Kyle, because you finished last week, you get to pick from Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, Team 4. You can go ahead and look. Tell me which 3 slain warriors you would like to represent this week.
First off, I'm gonna say I'm disappointed you didn't come up with an all-live lineup that we forced him to have. Because Brooks, Phil, and Gooch in here.
I could have.
Oh man,
What are their?
I wanted to penalize people for taking Scotty.
Team 4 is intriguing, but the freaking Stricker piece. I'm gonna go Team 1. My boy Thorbjorn, and then Rory, and Speed's gonna miss the cut, but whatever.
He is. Jordan?
Team 3, not even close.
Team 3.
I don't want Phil or Decky or Stricker, and I don't want to root for the Gooch Master.
I'll let you guys decide. Do you stick me with Team 4 in Scotty Scheffler and give the listeners the out and take Team 2 with Phil, Xander, and Hideki?
Team 2 is intriguing. Do we just give them the higher salary? That would be Team 4, the listeners.
They get Scotty? You're going to give the listeners Scotty?
Who's more likely to make the cut, Phil or Stricker?
Phil.
So do we give them the 3 that are more likely to make the cut?
Sure, as long as Decky doesn't WD.
All right.
All right, but if Decky WDs, it switches and Mike gets that team.
I love the week when
Yeah.
nobody is talking about Scotty Scheffler this week.
I'm playing Scotty.
I know you're playing him. He's still going to be 25 to 30% owned in DFS. Like it's people aren't stupid, but I'm just saying nobody's talking about him. And this again will be a classic Scotty Scheffler week where nobody's talking about him, and he comes up with a way to win or at least finish second or third. So, anything else, Kyle? You talked about a few bets. Normally we ask you, did you bet on the PGA Championship?
I only have the one.
Brooks,
with Tim Brooks.
5 units. That's fun. That's fun. You know, it gives you rooting interest.
I should see if I have any old bets that I made while I was in Arizona.
That's a good lookup. The only other thing I was going to mention, I forgot about this till halfway through the show. Did you guys see the video? We didn't even text about this, so this is live. Of the tornado.
Yeah, Paynes Valley.
Paynes Valley.
Yeah.
I like the worker lady out there trying to move the barrel or whatever the heck. Did you see that one?
I don't think I watched it long enough, but what I thought was funny is on some threads in the comments was other people posting videos of tornadoes on golf courses. And so
I would have loved that thread. I should have went through it. Yeah.
I know you're a weather chaser. Hate snakes. You're a weather chaser.
Yeah.
But the number of people...
Are we doing that to him in North Carolina?
I told you that is dangerous for your health. I'm not joking.
Just the number of people that are driving golf courses on a golf course, or driving golf carts on a golf course with a tornado on the ground on the same property. It's insane.
And then the crazy...
What do you do? Where are you going?
It's at elevation, too. So it's not... I'm finding a culvert. This is where these paths cross. But I would try to find a culvert to crawl in. If that was an option, but then you're thinking the snake. What do I do? I'm probably just running and getting sucked up by the tornado. I'm done.
So I do have some bets. I have Eric Cole at plus 10,000.
Yes.
I have JT Poston at plus 15,000.
Talked about him pre-pod.
Yeah. I have Russell Henley at plus 15,000.
Jordan Placey's without asking us about Valhalla.
I have Keith Mitchell at plus 10,000.
Oh. All right.
And I have Justin Thomas at plus 2,800.
Okay.
That's a bad number in JT.
Yeah. Wonder what it is now. It's a lot higher.
It's got to be 50.
Keith Mitchell one is probably the only one that's lower.
Yeah, the problem is you'll make more money if he wins out of the Calcutta. So, anyways, PGA Championship. I'm looking forward to it. PGA always feels a little bit kind of like it's. I know we know it's a major. We know it's gonna be good golf. It just kind of takes me till Sunday or late on Saturday to get really, really excited. But I look forward to all the top players playing together this week, and it should be a good weekend for us spectators. Of course, you can follow Reading the Green on Twitter at RTG Podcast DFS for content all week long. Our tournament previews are out Wednesday mornings on YouTube, Reading the Green, and of course any major podcast platform. We'll be back in a week with the results of the PGA Championship and preview the Chuck Schwab at Colonial. See ya.